Hello everyone, welcome to Divine Debut. This is Kathy speaking and thank you so much for being here. Okay, so today's the 30th of January of 2021 and I usually do an upload for the weekend. Nevertheless, the date I suppose is not so important. The message is more important. So first of all, I'd just like to say that the moon is moving through Virgo, so it's a time of doing the work, pulling up those sleeves, providing a service, looking at the details. That's what Virgo is all about. Virgo is all about purity. It's about health, doing things for the physical body, looking at your health. Pets are also in the Virgo energy. So the moon in Virgo, okay, it's all about being grounded, all right? Being grounded, having your feet planted firmly on the ground. And Mercury, which rules Virgo, is now, as I'm doing this video, turning retrograde. First retrograde of the year. What I thought I would do is I'm going to do a relationship spread. For those of you that are watching this, it can be romantic or it just doesn't have to be romantic. It could be any sort of a relationship. Mainly romantic, but it doesn't have to be only that. So we're looking at the past, present, future. What you brought to the table, what they brought to the table, and I will explain this as I'm going along. So I do hope that you enjoy this. I'd love to hear your comments. Let's go and see what's going on. 30th of January, Mercury retrograde begins. It will be retrograde in the sign of Aquarius until the 21st of February. So I'm using the Witch's Tarot, which is one of my favorite decks, but calling on spirit. Past, present, future in relationship. Please, spirit. What does one person bring to the table and what does the other person bring to the table? So let's start off with you, okay? So 10 of Cups, the other person, the Fool. What was going on between you in the past? So how were things initially? 7 of Wands. So 7 of Wands, not an easy energy. What about in the now? What's going on with this connection? We've got the Hierophant. And what is the outcome? We have the Queen of Cups. So I will not be stuck on the signs. You know the signs. We know that Taurus is the Hierophant. We know that the Fool is Aries energy. It doesn't have to be an Aries person. It could be that someone is taking on the persona of the Aries what's the word? The Aries personification. Aries is cardinal. Aries is fire. Okay. Now, the Hierophant, the High Priest in this deck. Taurus, fixed, earth, very gradual, very stable, very much about their finances. The High Priest can speak of marriage. It could speak of values, could speak of religion. All right, so just generally looking here, what I see is in the past, 7 of Wands. Okay, and this could be in the distant past, could be in the recent past. It will be different for each of you. There was conflict here. It was like the odds were against this connection. Someone was pushing the other person away, was keeping them at bay. It feels as though here that someone was doing all the work, or obviously there was a lot of passion. We've got fire, we've got wands. which speaks of desire, but there's also conflict around it. So this connection, it was like it was up against many grievances, many lessons. People were against this connection. Okay, so maybe someone had a lot of ego, and therefore they were just in it for the fun. Remember that sevens are spiritual, so we do have the spiritual understanding here with the Hierophant. So this may have been a spiritual connection, maybe one that was there to teach a lesson. Okay, because as I'm saying here, it was against the odds, because we see one person fighting against everything else, everything or everyone or every situation that it was up against. So you were on cloud 9, 10 of Cups. 10 of Cups is a lot of happiness, but 10 of Cups can also speak of someone being in a marriage, already committed, with a High Priest here as well. The other person is the Fool, someone who was starting on a new journey, could be with anything that they were dealing with. And obviously, this is showing where you're both coming from when this connection happened. So the Fool is someone who wants to take a risk. Okay, remember Aries is all about passion. It's again fire. It's I, me, my. I want to begin something, or I'm at the beginning stage of my romantic life. Whereas with the 10 of Cups, someone was already, they've had that taste of what marriage is all about. But I do feel that they're in between them, let's say, in between them is values, traditions, marriage, family, anything that the High Priest stands for. And again, it could have been a spiritual connection, as I'm saying. The Queen of Cups, open-hearted, someone who's ready for love, someone who is, they want balance, they want that emotional connection. The High Priest can also speak of restrictions because of family, because of another marriage. There's 2 keys here. And remember, the Hierophant is a number 5. So if we're talking about the Taurus energy, there's got to be value there. Sometimes Taurian individuals could also be looking at, does it pay them, let's say, to take that leap of faith? Look, 10 of Cups, it is a 10 which can speak of you being on top of the world. Very, very happy about this connection. But maybe this was a connection that was not meant to be. That was not by law. So you get what I mean. So someone may have been and would have been you. Now, feel free to flip the roles if this is your story. What I do see is here that someone was connected, someone was in a marriage, they had children, maybe they were at the end of their happiness in their family that they've built. What I see is there was an ending here and a beginning. So the other person was beginning. You, on the other hand, here was at a point of ending to start a new chapter. But I love to see that we've got the Queen of Cups here, right? What's at the bottom of the deck? And we've got the Page of Swords. Page of Swords is usually the student. Okay, Page of Swords can also speak of, because it's my Gemini card, Gemini can mean having a choice of 2 or being undecisive. Okay, and this could also speak of, remember that Gemini is ruled by Mercury, and Mercury is all about communication. Now, I'm not reading reversals, so I don't know if this connection began with good communication, with truths, or that it was meant to be some sort of a lesson. Okay, Page of Swords is all about being, having that curiosity. Yeah, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take extra cards. Before I take extra cards, I want to take the Black Moon astrology cards. So in the now, everyone, we've got the High Priest, and the High Priest is a number 5, and 5s can speak of changes. Now we've got 2 keys there, so someone or both of you are needing to make a choice, or you're coming from other relationships, and if this is a spiritual connection, because we've got the High Priest right there, which can mean a very strong spiritual connection. We'll see with the extra cards. So Spirit, what's going on? We've got Pluto and transformation, so Scorpio is in the mix. We have air element and communication. And we have grand trine and blessings. So if we take it as a past, present, future, you can read it like that too. So there's been a transformation happening here. Pluto, remember, is Scorpio, so it's a deep transformative undercurrent. And we know that a transformation always takes time. Remember that Pluto also speaks of death. So there's been a breakup. We've got an 11. 11 speaks of a new door opening. 11 can speak of, for me, it's all about timing, at a certain timing that door would open. Pluto can also speak of a very strong physical attraction. Remember, Scorpio can also be hidden, something that is hidden, but also a very deep connection. There can be darkness and fears around it. Air element in the now, let's say, we've got communication, right? 39 equals 12, so we've got 11 and 12. And 12 would be the hanging man, so we're sort of stunted by a stoppage, no movement. Remember that the High Priest is a 5. There is change coming through, but it's all about having to do things either the traditional way or wanting to take a risk and be untraditional, okay? But again, the High Priest is spirit. It could be that spiritual connection, the telepathy, but we've got a bit of a hold up, I would say, where the communication is concerned. And the important thing is, to get to the now here, we need communication. Communication and truth, I'm going to say, because the air element, remember, it's all about our perception, our thoughts, okay, and it can speak of truth or no truth. Grand trine and blessings, it equals to a 10. A grand trine and blessings, that means obviously that the celestial energies are very helpful, that this is sort of flowing energy, and a grand trine is very helpful where the astrology is concerned. It does, I would say it does signify the Queen of Cups. So grand trine, it can be in water, which we've got the Queen of Cups here, and that is, we know that is water, so it can speak of psychic ability. Remember that the Queen of Cups is also a very intuitive queen. So it could be very emotional, but also very psychic. Telepathy, I'm going to say she is the counterpart of the High Priestess, remember. She's got very similar energies. So let's take more cards and see what's going on. What more do we have? Let's look deeper. So a couple more cards for you. We have the King of Swords. And we have the Tower on your side. Let's take the full card. So on the other person's side, we have the Lovers and we have the Emperor. Wow, okay. Let's take the distant past. So the beginning, let's say, of this connection. 9 of Swords, Ace of Swords. Okay, so let's open this reading up a little bit. I'm going to take a couple more cards in the now. Why do we have the Hierophant here, please, Spirit? We have the King of Pentacles. And we have the Two of Swords. And let's take the outcome. We have the Page of Pentacles. And we have the Ace of Pentacles. What's at the bottom of the deck? And we have the Seven of Cups. Seven of Cups does mean choices. It also speaks of strong confusion. Let's take some Lenormand and see what's going on. Because the Lenormand paints a very different picture. We have the Divine Feminine. We have the Rider with the News. And we have the Moon. And at the bottom of the deck here, we've got the magnifying glass. So, interesting with the magnifying glass and it being Mercury retrograde. Mercury is very, it's quite happy in the sign of Aquarius. Remember, Aquarius is air, so it's Mercury rules Gemini and Virgo. So it's comfortable there. And obviously Mercury is very good at looking at the details with this Mercury retrograde. Remember that Mercury retrograde can bring back situations and people from the past. It could be a time where there could be confusion, but you have that window of opportunity to work through the confusion. And we know that there's been a lot of misconception, misunderstandings with Neptune retrograding in the sign of Pisces, being very strong there. And hopefully with this Mercury retrograde, even though it can mean confusion, we're given the chance to be able to do the work and look deeper. Many times as Mercury is retrograding, there can be confusion, situations, and people do come back from the past. But I would say that it's more so all systems go as Mercury will turn direct and start moving forward. So towards the end of February will be more about taking the action. Okay, so all right, let's look at the distant past. We've got the Nine of Swords and the Ace of Swords. Ace of Swords, of course, is a card of victory. Someone is feeling very victorious. And I'm not reading reversals here. Someone maybe was very truthful. The other person maybe was not. They were fighting this connection. Or I'm going to say again that the odds were against this connection in the distant past. Remember that the Ace of Swords may have been also something that needed to happen from the distant past because someone was in a lot of worry here. Nine of Swords is someone having sleepless nights, anxiety, stress, and that could have related to a lot of things. Didn't have to be, it could have been around surrounding work as well, because we do have the wands here which can speak of vocation. So this may have been someone's novelty. Let's say this connection was a novelty, and I would say that that would have been more than likely on the side of the other person. Why do I say that? Because the Emperor is someone that usually has a lot that they're dealing with. Okay, so if this was a novelty for the Emperor, it could be that the other person, you for instance, because we've got the King of Swords here and we've got the Ace of Swords here, it looks like you were more truthful, and it may also mean that the this person here, the Emperor, was not as truthful. So there was information missing here. I feel that that's why someone was stressing a lot on this in the distant past. But we've got 10 swords here also, which do mean that obviously there was a breakup in the past. Okay, there was a breakup. Now, looking at the side of you, King of Swords could be the Aquarius, could be any air sign, I suppose. Doesn't have to be your energy, could be someone that you're dealing with as well. King of Swords is someone that doesn't usually show emotions. Okay, it's someone that looks at the details. Could be King of Swords, could be someone that's truth, the harsh truth, or someone that uses tough words. And I'm going to say, if for those of you that are on, you know, you're on this side, we've got the King of Swords and the Tower here, which the Tower means that obviously a major awakening or a shift needed to happen here, or happened. Okay, so obviously the Tower comes through when something is not built on solid ground, on happiness. So I do feel that this was sort of like an ending. Now, we know that the King of Swords is someone that wants the truth and only the truth. Okay, and if there was no truth, maybe that's probably why the Tower came down. This could be the person that you were dealing with. If you were in a marriage, let's say, that needed to come down, it was not working. Okay. But also on another account, as I said, you were one that was showing, you were speaking your truth. Whether this hurt the other person or not, you needed the truth. And you sort of were very calculative about things. Now, the other person here with the Fool card, we've got the Lovers. And the Lovers does mean a choice. We do have the Hierophant here with the two keys. And we've got the Emperor, and the Emperor is usually Aries, Taurus. Doesn't have to be, of course. Remember that the Lovers is Gemini, and I have already spoken about the Gemini energies with that Page of Swords that we had at the bottom of the deck. But this is also someone who is feeling that this is a very powerful connection. Very powerful connection. But also someone who had a choice. And maybe someone who took a risk. When we talk about someone having a choice, it means either, remember what I said, that they were probably starting over. Maybe they were starting over in business, or maybe they just wanted to take a risk on this connection. We know that the Emperor, he's looking at the children, so could it be someone that was already in a commitment as well and had children? It's not going to be for all of you, of course. Okay, or it was someone that was just fantasizing about having children. Nevertheless, here in the now, we've got the King of Pentacles, which is my Taurus card. It could be Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn. It's a general reading. And we've got the Two of Swords. So because we've got the Hierophant here, this would mainly be the Taurian energy, I would say, for a lot of you. But even if it's not, what is Taurus? Remember, Taurus is very slow to move, very slow to decide. There's got to be value. There's got to be security, financial security. Taurus is all about planning. Now, the King of Pentacles is very similar to the Emperor. Very similar. But this is, let's read it as an energy. King of Pentacles is someone that is always there for others. Someone that puts a lot of value into a long-term commitment. They will not commit unless they are certain. And we've got two keys and two swords here. So this King of Pentacles, whether this is you or whether this is the other person, they're in two minds about making a choice. Remember, though, the initial cards, we have to hold on to the initial spread, which is the High Priest. So someone is looking at something long term, okay? And again, I'm going to say it's all about telepathy, using intuition, spiritually aligning and needing to make a decision. Remember that the Two of Swords, there's a blindfold. So this person here is needing to trust their intuition. What is the outcome? We had the Queen of Cups, someone ready for love. First card we got was the Page of Pentacles. Again, fresh energy. Page of Pentacles is the student, but the pentacle is something that's long term. It's a messenger. Here we've got the Divine Feminine, very grounded, very earthy, either earth or water in this Divine Feminine, which could be you or the other person. We've got an Ace here with the Rider coming through with news. And where is the news heading? This could even be a visitor. Where is the visitor coming towards? Where are they taking a leap towards? Towards what is deep and what is very important to them. The moon in the Lenormand speaks of a very deep connection. Remember that the moon also rules the home. And the home means that's where I feel stable, secure, loved, nurtured, provided for. Okay, so the moon is a very important card. We do look at it when we look at the charts of two people together, their synastry. That is a very emotional card, very strong. And it does signify, the moon signifies the house of Cancer, which is usually the mother. So there is a nurturing energy. Someone is ready to nurture, love, and provide the love and the stability that the other person needs. We do have the Ace of Pentacles here, which is usually the marriage card, everyone. Otherwise, it's a stable, long-term, and a relationship built on values, on reality. It's not something airy-fairy like the Seven of Cups. What's beneath that? And we've got the Justice. So Justice, we know, again, is an 11, but Justice is also balance. Someone who's wanting balance. Remember that the Justice is Libra, and Libra is relationships with others. It can speak of legalities. If someone is making a choice, could be one person, could be both, because remember, we've got the Lovers here, which means this person felt as though this connection was a very deep and very powerful connection. Remember that the Lovers is also a very physical connection. Okay, it's not the Two of Cups. It's more so, it shows two people that are bound. You know, they come from the same place. It usually shows Archangel Michael blessing this union. So it does show a very strong and powerful connection. Even with the Pluto card, I see that. So what's beneath here? We've got the Tower, which the Tower is solitude and loneliness in the past. That's why someone is looking at the details, trying to read between the lines. Obviously, there's been a lack of communication, I would say. But I feel that just looking at the astrology, there's newness coming through. There's newness. Let's take three of the Mystic Moon Oracles. Actually, I'm not going to take three. I'm going to take one on each position. So let's look at the distant past. We have communication. So communication in this deck is very telepathic for me. Okay, now it does speak of internet communication as well. All right, so let's look at the position of you. Winter. So there has been solitude, no growth, no love here. Obviously a chapter has ended for you on this side with the Winter. This Tower has obviously brought hibernation. You've been in your cave, it looks like. Some of you may be also going through legalities with that King of Swords, because it can speak of a solicitor or something concerning litigation. Let's look at, and I'm going to say also that If there's been no communication, it looks like with the King of Swords, maybe you've used harsh words. If there's been a situation where, because there's been a Tower moment on your side, which could be an awakening or an epiphany. This may have been an epiphany concerning the other person, maybe that they had a choice, another choice, and winter came through, and I see the King of Swords as someone that may have used harsh words, harsh truths that sort of hurt the other person, because the Emperor, remember that the Emperor is someone that they don't show emotion either, but they could be very fiery, and they need to do what is important for the whole and not for just themselves. Remember that the Emperor, though, is also number 4. So once they come to understand that this is what they want, then that's when they will take the action towards that. Otherwise, they will be there for the fun. You get what I mean? So I feel that having this person, if this person was not already in a commitment with children, maybe for those of you that this person was a little bit, single and ready to take a risk on this connection, maybe they felt as though they would take a risk, but because they felt it was a very important connection. But then remember that the Emperor can also mean that Saturnian, boundary. Maybe they've put up boundaries. So it's not easy to get past or through to the Emperor. Let's see what they were bringing to the table, what happened with them. And they have regrets. And the regrets could be around many things. Maybe even the choice made. Maybe not taking a risk on this connection. And remember that the Fool can speak of someone needing to go on a journey. I'm just wondering if there was physical distance, because we do have communication through social media here, or through telepathy, okay, spiritual connection, as I said. Let's see what's going on in the now. We have signs and synchronicities. So the goalposts are showing both of you maybe the way. So look out for signs and synchronicities. Obviously, the other person is also noticing signs and maybe even looking for signs. Let's see what the outcome. Awakening. So it looks like whoever was not awake, which I would say more than likely would be the other person. Why? Because you've had the Tower, you've had your awakening. So maybe it's the other person, whether it's divine masculine, divine feminine, doesn't matter. It's the other person. So there is an awakening, and I would say from both people that this is a very important connection. Now also this may have also signified that both people were going through their awakening. It looks like you went through it first. Obviously this person has got regrets, so maybe now they're going through that awakening, and there is a strong connection here in the outcome position. That's what I see with the awakening card, that both people are on the same page about this connection. Let's take a Gaia Oracle and see what the message is here. Thank you, Spirit. And we have Tree of Life, fertility, creativity, destiny, and magical blessings. And it's an ace. And when I see the Tree of Life, of course, it is something that is going to be long-term. It's grown long roots. It is rooted in the distant past. May have been years, may have been from a past lifetime. It is an ace. We've got the news coming through. There's another ace here. And it speaks of magical blessings, which is the Grand Trine. This is destined. Fertility means something is, the seeds have been planted and they've sprout. Okay, so, and the tree is also a spiritual connection, very strong. Let's take some handwritten love cards and see what's going on. I'd love to hear your comments about this connection, this reading, this setup. Tell me if you like it, if you enjoyed it, so I could repeat it. Let's see. I'm going to take a couple of messages on your side and a couple on the other person. As I said, you can flip the readings if that's what is right for you. I'm now awakened. Now I see clearly. You are the one for me. That's the Seven of Cups, which is also here. Please forget me. It was a mistake. Nine of Swords. So we've also had the Nine of Swords here. Now these could be messages that you are giving out, sending out, or these could be, I suppose these could be messages that have been passed to you, communicated to you. Remember, this is a general reading. It will not resonate for all of you. The other person. I love, love, love you, and that's the Nine of Cups. Nine of Cups is a wish fulfillment. I'm coming to meet you. I want to be with you. And that's the Eight of Wands. And the Eight of Wands is love messages coming through, but also can speak of flight, travel. And we've got a 17 here. 17 is the star. The star can mean, yes, that wish fulfillment, but also that there is still hope here. And here we've got a 16, which is the Tower. So the Tower is Uranus in Taurus for me. Again, the Tower is very radical, but it's also that the Tower also is Scorpio, so a strong Plutonian energy is going on here, which we've also got here. Okay, so a clearing of the slate and beginning to build on something new. But remember that it's not easy, because you are still going through winter, and winter, I suppose, could be a timing card as well. It can speak of solitude, loneliness, sadness, etc. And we've got winter and regret. So both people are not happy in the situation that they're in now. Both people. So I want to take just 3 more cards on the outcome here with the Awakening card. 3 tarot cards just to get a little bit more story, a bit of a story on what's going on in the near future. We have the Nine of Swords again. We have the Knight of Wands, which is, Knight of Wands is someone that is driven by their passion, someone who's willing to take the action and create. Could be a traveler as well. And we've got the Magician, everyone, and the Magician is Mercury. The Magician does say that the tools are there, and what is going on in the sky is reflected in your circumstances. The Magician is another ace. So this can mean communication. Okay, seeing the truth, doing the work. If there's been anything to do with misconceptions, misunderstandings, the Magician logically has got the ability to communicate very well and manifest. Okay, so a lot of worries about maybe distance or maybe having the tools to create. I do feel with the Knight of Wands that there is a physical distance here. I do see, and what I feel here is that one person is sort of recessive and just not acting, but more so stressing and worrying about it, the situation, but the other person is willing to take the action and create. So whoever is the more active between the two, I think, is the one that will be traveling. physically taking action. All right. I think I will leave it there. I do hope that this gave you some understanding and some clarity about what's happening and where this is going. So I want to wish you well. Thank you so, so much. Let's see what's going to happen with this Mercury retrograde. Have a wonderful weekend, everyone. Lots of love to all of you. Ta-da.